Welcome to section 12.15. This is the 141st session of the CISSP exam prep series. In this session, we'll tackle the attacks aimed at your communication channels and how to stop them. What does harm to a communication system really include? Which common threats should you recognize? What is eavesdropping and how do you defend against it? And what is a modification attack and how do you counter it? Why does this matter beyond the exam? Because the data crossing your network is a target the moment it leaves a machine. Picture a law firm exchanging case files between two offices over a shared link. An attacker who quietly listens can harvest privileged information without ever tripping an alarm. On the job, you are the one who anticipates these interception threats and builds the controls that make listening or tampering useless. What does harm to a communication system really include? More than most people assume. It is easy to picture harm as pure destruction, but the list is much broader. It includes disclosure of secrets, delayed or denied access, fraud, wasted or abused resources, and outright loss. Any activity or condition that can hurt your data, your systems, or your people belongs on this list and deserves mitigation. Framing harm this widely keeps you from fixating on one dramatic failure while quieter damage slips past. Think of a leak in a pipe. It does not have to burst to cause real trouble. Which common threat should you recognize? A recurring cast of attacks targets communication systems. Denial of service and its amplified cousin, distributed denial of service, flood a system until legitimate users cannot get in. Impersonation pretends to be a trusted party. Replay captures valid traffic and sends it again to trick a system. Address resolution and domain name poisoning corrupt the lookups that steer traffic, quietly redirecting it. And eavesdropping and transmission modification target the data in transit directly. Picture a busy postal route where messages can be blocked, forged, rerouted, copied, or rewritten. Every one of these has a countermeasure, which is exactly the point. What is eavesdropping, and why is it so hard to catch? Eavesdropping is simply listening to traffic in order to copy it, whether by recording it or by pulling the original content out of the stream. Once an attacker holds that copy, they can often mine it for usernames, passwords, procedures, and sensitive data. It usually needs some access to your infrastructure, tapping an open port or cable, or planting capture software, often a sniffer or protocol analyzer. The danger is that pure listening is a passive attack, which leaves almost no trace and is very hard to detect. The moment that listening turns into altering or injecting traffic, though, it becomes an active attack. Think of someone silently reading your mail versus someone rewriting it before it arrives. How do you defend against eavesdropping? With layers that make listening pointless. Start with physical access security, so unauthorized people cannot reach your cabling and equipment to plant a tap in the first place. For traffic that leaves your network, or to blunt an insider, encryption is your workhorse, wrapping the data so a captured copy is unreadable. One-time authentication methods, like one-time pads or token devices, ensure that even sniffed credentials cannot be reused. An application allow listing helps prevent unapproved tools like sniffers from ever running. Think of it as locking the room, sealing the envelopes, and using passwords that expire the instant they are spoken. What is a modification attack, and how do you counter it? In a modification attack, an attacker captures packets, alters them, and replays the changed versions against the system. These doctored packets are crafted to slip past authentication and session sequencing protections, hoping the target accepts them as genuine. The defense is integrity checking. Digital signature verification confirms a message truly came from its claimed sender and was not touched. And packet checksum verification catches any tampering with the contents. Picture a tamper evidence seal on a package. If the seal is broken or the contents do not match the manifest, you reject it outright. So let's bring it together. Harm to your communications is broad, spanning disclosure, delay, denial, fraud, waste, abuse, and loss, not just destruction. The common threats, from denial of service and impersonation through replay, poisoning, eavesdropping, and modification, each have a countermeasure. Eavesdropping is a stealthy, passive attack you defeat with physical security, encryption, one-time authentication, and allow listing. Modification attacks alter and replay traffic, so you counter them with digital signatures and checksums. Protect the channel, and the data crossing it stays trustworthy. The MCQs covering all the topics and concepts from this session are available on rucloud.com. Practice the chapter-specific MCQs before moving on to the next session. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions or feedback, post a comment below or email us. I will see you in the next session.